Storytelling has evolved across human history, moving from oral traditions to books, then to movies, and now into video games. Each medium tells stories in its own way, but video games have introduced something completely new: interactivity. Instead of watching a character make choices, the player becomes responsible for them. This single difference changes the entire experience of a story. Books let us imagine a world. Movies show us a world, but games let us enter a world and act within it. That difference is why I chose to compare video game storytelling with books and films. I grew up experiencing all three, and I realized that even when they tell similar plots, the feel of the story can be totally different depending on the medium. In books, the author has complete control over pacing, emotions, and the internal thoughts of characters. Movies use visuals, sounds, and acting to guide the audience. Both are passive forms of storytelling. You receive the story exactly as it was created. Games are different. They give the player agency, the feeling that your decisions matter. Even small choices, like how you explore or how you respond in dialogue, build a personal connection that books and movies cannot recreate. You're not just observing a journey, you're taking it. One of the biggest differences is emotional engagement. When a character dies in a movie, you feel sympathy. But when a character dies in a game because of your decisions, the emotion is deeper: guilt, responsibility, or pride.
Baby, stay with me. All right, I'm gonna pick you up. I know, baby, I know it hurts. Come on, baby, please. I know, baby, I know. Sarah. Come on.
Confirmed deaths have passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
Hundreds and hundreds of bodies lining the streets.
Video games turn narrative into an experience rather than a presentation. Story-driven games like The Last of Us, Life is Strange, or Detroit Become Human rely on choice, consequence, and immersion. They force players to confront moral decisions the same way a character would. Even simple actions can shape how the story ends. Books and movies can show a character struggling with a choice, but games make you feel that struggle.
Do it! Do the job!
Even genres that exist in all three mediums show their strengths differently. Take fantasy, for example. A fantasy novel can give you rich world-building. A fantasy movie can show you the visuals. But a fantasy game like Skyrim or The Witcher lets you live inside the world, talk to its people, change its fates, and shape the story based on your actions. The same genre becomes a different emotional experience depending on the medium. Games also have some of the most iconic emotional moments in modern storytelling: Aerith's death in Final Fantasy VII, the ending of Red Dead Redemption, the betrayal in BioShock, the choices in Telltale's The Walking Dead. These scenes hit harder, not just because they are dramatic, but because the player is involved in the journey leading up to them. The emotion comes from Participation Game Studies. Researchers have been studying this effect for years. Janet Murray, a professor at MIT, explains that games offer agency, the satisfying power to take meaningful action inside a story. This is what makes game narratives feel so personal and immersive. Another study by Arlen Mahler and Amy Sharong Liu found that player engagement is tied to psychological needs, especially the need for autonomy. When players control the story, they naturally care more about it. A third study by Chen, Dowling, and Goetz shows how modern games blend gameplay and narrative so closely that they can create emotional depth that traditional media sometimes can't reach together. This research shows that games aren't just entertainment, they're a unique narrative form. Compared to books and movies, video games create a two-way relationship between the audience and the story. Instead of passively absorbing the narrative, players help build it. This shifts storytelling from something you watch to something you participate in. As technology has grown, games have widened the definition of what a story can be. They mix visuals, writing, music, design, and player choice into one experience. They can be emotional, political, philosophical, or deeply personal. They make us think, reflect, and question our decisions in ways that passive media cannot. In the end, Video games deserve to stand alongside books and movies as a powerful form of storytelling, not because they replace them, but because they expand what storytelling can do. Games represent the next evolution of narrative art, one where the audience becomes part of the story itself